Long before cities rose and kingdoms fell, long before written words captured our thoughts, the earth was ruled by the timeless chill of the Ice Age. Vast sheets of ice stretched across continents. Forests lay buried beneath endless snow, and life itself clung to survival in pockets of warmth and firelight. Tonight, we journey back tens of thousands of years, to a time when our distant ancestors walked the frozen plains, hunted mighty beasts, and learned to master the world around them, one fragile heartbeat at a time. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the story of these ancient souls guide you into the depths of a forgotten world. The first rays of dawn break over a windswept plain, where a small clan huddles inside a shelter of hide and bone. Smoke drifts lazily from a pit fire at the center, warding off the night's cruel cold. A mother whispers gently to her sleeping child, wrapping him tighter in a fur blanket, stitched from the pelts of last season's hunt. Outside, the air is sharp and brittle. The leader of the clan, a man named Raka, emerges into the pale light. His eyes scan the horizon, watching for movement, prey or predator, life or death. He kneels in the snow, pressing his palm to the earth, reading the faint tracks left by a herd of reindeer migrating east. Behind him, the rest of the clan stirs awake. Children giggle softly, chasing each other around the fire. Elders stretch stiff limbs, their faces carved with lines of hardship and memory. Hunters sharpen stone blades and tie flint tips to sturdy spears, murmuring blessings to the spirits of the hunt. As the sun climbs higher, the clan gathers in a circle. Raka speaks in a low, measured voice, telling them of the journey ahead, a path across frozen rivers and hidden valleys, where food is scarce, but survival depends on moving forward. With packs secured and spirits lifted by the warmth of shared purpose, they step into the blinding white wilderness, leaving behind the safety of their night shelter. Each footprint is a testament to their resolve, fragile lives, bound together against the unyielding ice. Hours pass as the clan moves steadily across the frozen expanse. The sun, pale and distant, offers little warmth, but its light guides them onward. Raka leads at the front, flanked by two of the strongest hunters, Yura, quick and clever, and Bren, whose silent footsteps are said to bring luck to the hunt. Behind them, the elders and children follow in single file, their breath misting in the frigid air. They leave a winding trail of footprints that soon vanish under drifting snow. The world around them is vast and empty, a great silence broken only by the crunch of packed snow beneath fur-lined boots. Suddenly, Yura raises his hand, signaling the group to halt. Ahead, near a grove of leafless trees, dark shapes move slowly against the snow. Reindeer, a small herd, grazing on the last tufts of frozen grass, unaware of the watchful eyes upon them. Raka gestures for the others to crouch low. He whispers a quiet prayer to the spirit of the herd, thanking it for the life it will give. The hunters fan out silently, circling the reindeer with practiced care. Every step is deliberate, every breath measured. The clan's survival rests on this moment. Then, like shadows, they strike. Spears fly through the air with a soft hiss. A single reindeer stag falls first, its call echoing across the plain. The herd scatters in panic, but the hunters move swiftly, working together to bring down another. There is no waste, no cruelty, only the cold understanding that life feeds life. When the snow settles, the hunters stand in quiet gratitude around their quarry. They touch the warm hide, murmuring thanks to the creature's spirit. Raka knows this meat and hide will carry them through more nights of biting cold. For now, the clan will feast, and tomorrow they will move again. As dusk settles over the snowbound land, the clan gathers around a new fire, sheltered within a ring of ancient stones. Smoke curls upward, carrying the scent of roasted meat into the night sky, where stars glitter cold and sharp above the icy plain. Children sit close to their mothers, gnawing on tender strips of meat. Hunters clean their tools with careful hands, sharpening stone blades and checking spear shafts for cracks. Each task is quiet, respectful, a ritual of survival etched deep into their bones. Raka sits near the largest flame, his broad shoulders draped in the fur of a great bear he hunted long ago. His eyes, though fierce in the daylight, soften in the glow of the fire. Around him, the elders lean close, warming brittle fingers and tired bones. Tonight, as the winds whisper beyond their circle of warmth, it is time for stories, old tales that bind the living to those who came before. An elder named Osha, her voice thin but steady, begins to speak. She tells of the time when the world was all darkness, before the first fire was stolen from the belly of the mountain. She weaves stories of giant beasts with tusks like trees, and spirits that ride the wind, guiding hunters to their prey. The children listen wide-eyed, the flicker of flames dancing in their gazes. Each word carries lessons: how to respect the hunt, how to share with the weak, how to stand together when the ice grows cruel. Outside their circle of warmth, the snow drifts higher against the stones. The wind sighs, but within the clan's ring of fire and story, there is a deep, quiet strength, the bond of blood and memory that no storm can break. As eyelids grow heavy and the last embers glow like distant stars, the voices fade into the hush of sleep. Another day awaits, but tonight, the past lives on in whispered words and the steady beat of ancient hearts. At dawn, the clan rises quietly from their circle of warmth. Frost clings to furs and hair, and the embers of last night's fire lie buried beneath fresh snow. Overhead, the sky is no longer clear. Dark, heavy clouds swirl low, promising more than just a gentle fall of snow. Raka stands at the edge of the camp, feeling the air shift. The winds bite sharper than before, hissing through cracks in the stones. He knows this sign well. A great storm is coming, the kind that can swallow travelers whole and scatter their bones across the white wilderness. Without delay, he calls the clan to gather. Mothers wrap children tightly in extra hides. Hunters lash furs around their packs and double-check the bindings on their sleds. The elders murmur prayers to the wind spirits, asking mercy for the young and the frail. Snow begins to fall, gentle at first, soft flakes drifting like feathers. But soon the wind rises to a mournful howl. The sky turns white, the earth vanishes beneath swirling frost. Visibility shrinks to an arm's length, and each breath feels like knives in the chest. The clan moves as one body, pressed close together, each person leaning on the next. Raka leads at the front, pushing into the blinding gusts. Hours pass in a blur of white and wind. At last, through the storm's veil, Raka spots a rise of boulders ahead, a natural shelter where snow cannot bury them alive. With a guttural shout lost to the wind, he urges the clan forward. One by one, they collapse into the narrow crevice between stones, breathing heavily, clinging to each other for warmth. Outside, the blizzard rages like a living beast, roaring and clawing at the rocks. But within, huddled close, the clan holds fast, together as always. In the heart of the storm, They find not fear, but the quiet strength that has carried their kind across endless winters. Outside, the Ice Age shows its teeth. Inside, the fire of humankind refuses to die. When dawn returns, it does so quietly. The furious winds of the storm have softened to a gentle hush, and the snow that once blinded now lies in soft, unbroken drifts across the plain. Inside their rocky refuge, the clan stirs awake, stiff and weary, but alive. Raka emerges first, pushing aside a curtain of hides that shielded them from the storm's bite. He squints at the sky, expecting more swirling gray, but instead finds a pale sun breaking through torn clouds, painting the snow in glints of gold. One by one, the clan steps into the light. Children blink at the brightness, giggling as they sink knee-deep into the fresh snow. Hunters stretch sore limbs and check their supplies. The storm has tested them, but they have endured, and now something stirs on the wind that lifts every heart. A subtle scent of thaw. Yura kneels beside a patch of rocks where the snow has already begun to melt. There, delicate green shoots push bravely through the frost, reaching for the sun's weak warmth. He smiles, calling a child to see, a sign that the endless winter will soon loosen its hold. The elders gather around Raka, whispering blessings for the coming season. They speak of rivers that will run free again, herds that will grow fat with new life, and the promise of easier days beneath the open sky. Tonight, they will make camp beneath the stars once more. No walls of stone, no howling winds, just the hush of falling snow and the crackle of fire. The clan knows hardship will return. It always does. But for now, hope warms them better than any fur or flame. Together, they set their eyes to the east, where the sun lifts higher each day. Step by step, story by story, they carry their people forward, leaving footprints in the melting snow for future generations to follow. The clan moves eastward, following the whispers of the wind and the scent of water beneath the ice. The land is still wrapped in winter's grip, but the air no longer bites with the same cruelty. The snow underfoot softens, crunching less like shattered bone and more like the yielding earth of distant memory. Raka walks at the front, his spear resting against his shoulder, his eyes scanning the horizon. He does not need to look back to know his people follow their footsteps, press into the snow behind him, a trail of survival written in deep, deliberate marks. Yura and Bren scout ahead, their breath curling in pale clouds. Bren stops suddenly, crouching low. His fingers brush the snow, uncovering something dark and wet beneath. He lifts his head, eyes bright. "Here," he calls. The clan gathers, murmuring as they see what Bren has found. A thin trickle of water, black against the white, seeping from beneath the ice. It is the first true sign. The elders press their palms to the damp earth, whispering thanks to the spirits of the thaw. The children crouch beside them, wide-eyed, dipping their fingers into the icy flow. Laughter bubbles up, light as the melting snow. Raka watches them, his chest tight with something warmer than pride. Hunters string their bows, venturing out in search of the first returning game. Gatherers probe the softening earth for hidden roots and early shoots. The fire makers stack dry tinder, coaxing flames to life as the last of the winter wind sighs around them. As dusk settles, the scent of roasting meat fills the air. A young hare, thin from the long cold but rich with the promise of renewal, turns on a spit over the fire. The clan gathers close, their faces painted gold by the flickering light. An elder begins the story, the tale of the great thaw, when the ice first cracked and the world breathed again. The children listen, their cheeks stuffed with food, their eyes reflecting the fire. Raka sits apart, just at the edge of the light, watching his people. Yura joins him, offering a piece of meat. They eat in silence for a while before Yura speaks. "The hardest nights are behind us," he says. Raka grunts, but his gaze lingers on the horizon, where the last embers of daylight fade into blue. "For now," Yura nods, "for now. But for tonight, that is enough." The fire burns low. The stars emerge, sharp and bright. And beneath the snow, the earth stirs, dreaming of spring. The trickle Bren found has become a stream, cutting a silver path through the snow. Birds, unseen for months, dart between the bare bones of trees, their calls sharp and bright against the quiet. Raka watches the hunters return with their first true bounty, a young deer. Its coat still thick with winter, but its flesh rich and warm. The clan gathers as the beast is skinned, its hide stretched for tanning, its meat divided carefully among the families. The elders take the bones, whispering prayers, as they carve them into tools and talismans. Nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten. That night, as the fire crackles and fat drips into the flames, the clan sings. It is an old song, one passed down through generations, a melody of thawing rivers and returning herds, of footprints left in soft earth instead of snow. The children clap along, their voices rising high and clear, while the elders hum the deeper notes, the ones that rumble like distant thunder. Yura sits beside Raka, his fingers tapping against his thigh in time with the rhythm. "Do you remember the first time you heard this song?" he asks. Raka grunts. "I remember my father singing it. His voice was rougher than yours." Yura laughs. Everything about him was rougher. Raka's mouth twitches, almost a smile. He looks into the fire, seeing not just flames, but the faces of those who came before. Those who sang the same song in winters, even colder than the last. A child tugs at his sleeve. "Raka, will you tell us a story?" The clan quiets, turning toward him. Even the hunters pause in their eating, waiting. Raka exhales, slow and deep thought, then he begins. "Long ago, when the ice was king and the wind howled like a starving wolf, there was a hunter who walked alone, ... His voice is low, steady, weaving a tale of perseverance, of a man who outlasted the winter, not by strength alone, but by listening to the earth, to the animals, to the whispers of his ancestors in his dreams." The children lean forward, their eyes wide. The elders nod, recognizing the lesson beneath the words. When the story ends, the fire has burned to embers. The clan sits in silence for a moment, the weight of the tale settling over them like a warm hide. Then, from the darkness beyond the firelight, a sound, a low, echoing call. The clan stills. Bren stands slowly, his hand on his spear. "Wolf." Raka shakes his head. "No." The call comes again, long, mournful, rising and falling like wind over stone. Yura's breath catches. The horn. A murmur ripples through the clan. The horn, a sound not heard in many turnings of the seasons. A sound that means others, survivors. Raka rises, his shadow stretching tall against the fire-lit snow. He looks east, toward the sound, toward the unknown. The clan waits. "Tomorrow," he says at last, "we follow it." And beneath their feet, the earth hums as if in answer. The two clans travel together toward the east, following Tohan's promised valley. The land slopes downward, the air growing warmer with each step. The snow gives way to mud, then to the first stubborn shoots of spring grass. The children run ahead, laughing as their feet sink into soft earth for the first time in their lives. Then the wind shifts and the scent hits them. Death. Raka signals for silence. The laughter dies. Hunters string their bows. The clans creep forward, over the crest of the hill, and then they see it. The valley is a graveyard. Hundreds of carcasses litter the earth bison, deer, even a mammoth, its great ribs jutting from the earth like the bones of the world itself. The grass is trampled, stained dark. Flocks of crows rise in black waves, screaming. Tohan makes a low sound in his throat. This is not what he expected. Yura kneels, pressing his palm to the earth. Not hunted, he murmurs. Not by men. The bodies are whole, unbutchered. No spears in their sides, no cuts of meat taken. Just death, sudden and brutal. A child gasps. Near the mammoth skeleton, something moves. A wolf, but wrong. Its ribs press against its mangy pelt. Foam drips from its jaws. It does not snarl, but it does not flee. It only stares at them with yellow, fever-bright eyes, panting. Then it collapses. Bren starts forward, but Raka grabs his arm. No, the elders murmur. They know this sign. The oldest among them, a woman with hands gnarled as roots, spits into the dirt. Bad earth, she croaks. Bad water. Tohan's people exchange glances. One of their hunters gestures angrily. We cannot stay here. Raka looks across the valley. Beyond the carnage, the land rises again, green and untouched. Safety lies on the other side. The clans huddle, arguing in hushed voices. Some want to turn back. Some want to risk crossing quickly, taking what meat they can carry from the fresher kills. Raka watches the crows. They feast, but even they seem uneasy, their cries sharp with warning. Then a sound, distant but unmistakable. Thunder. But the sky is clear. Tohan's face goes pale. He knows that sound. So does Raka. Not thunder. Hooves. A herd is coming stampeding, and they are directly in its path. The sound rolls toward them like a breaking wave, a deep, shuddering rumble that makes the earth tremble. Raka doesn't need to see them to know what's coming. Something has spooked the herds, and now they are a living avalanche, blind with panic. The clans scatter. Children are snatched up. Hunters grab the elders. There's no time for strategy, no time for fear-only survival. The stampede will not stop, Dot. It will not turn. Raka and Tohan sprint alongside their people, herding them toward the only shelter in sight, a rocky outcrop at the valley's edge. It's too small for all of them. Some will be left exposed. Yura stumbles. Bren yanks him back to his feet, just as the first animals crest the ridge, a surging tide of bison, their eyes white-rimmed, their breath steaming in ragged snorts. Dust and snow swirl in their wake. Asterisk, asterisk, faster. Asterisk, asterisk, Raka roars. The rocks are close, Dot, so are the hooves. A scream cuts through the chaos. One of Tohan's women falls, her foot twisted in a burrow. The herd bears down. Raka doesn't think. He turns back. Tohan is already there, hauling her up, but they won't make it. Raka grabs his spear not to throw, but to plant. He jams it into the earth, races it with his body. and snarls at the charging wall of muscle and horn. At the last second, the lead bison swerves, just enough. The herd splits around them like a river around a stone, close enough that Raka feels the heat of their bodies, smells the fear on their hides. One kick would crush his ribs. One misstep, then it's over. The last stragglers thunder past. The dust settles. Silence. Raka sags, his hands shaking. Tohan grips his shoulder, wordless. The woman they saved sobs into her hands. The clans regroup, counting losses. A few bruises. A twisted ankle. No deaths, but the message is clear. This valley is cursed. The elders murmur of old Thales places where the earth itself sickened, where animals fled before some unseen terror. Tohan's people make warding signs, whispering in their own tongue. Raka looks east, toward the untouched hills beyond the dead herds. Safety is still there, but the path to it is tainted. Yura kneels beside a half-rotten carcass, poking it with his knife. This wasn't sickness, he says slowly. Look. He points to the bison's mouth. Its tongue is blackened, its gums scorched. Bren frowns. Like it ate fire. A chill runs through the clans. Fire that burns from within is a thing of spirits. Of curses. Raka meets Tohen's eyes. No words are needed. They will not stay. They will not eat from this place. The clans turn north, toward higher ground, where the air is still clean and the water still runs clear. Behind them, the crows descend again, their feast uninterrupted. And far, far to the east, beyond the hills, the faintest thread of smoke rises into the sky. Not from a campfire, from a mountain that has not yet spoken, but is waking. The clans move north, leaving the valley of death behind. The land rises steeply now, the air thinning as they climb. The trees grow sparse, replaced by jagged outcrops of black rock that jut from the earth like broken teeth. That night, as the fire burns low, the elders tell stories. There are mountains that breathe, murmurs the old woman with root-twisted hands. Mountains that sleep for lifetimes, then wake hungry. Tohan's people listen, their faces grim. One of their hunters, a lean man with a scar across his nose, adds his own tale. My grandfather spoke of a fire river that swallowed whole clans. The earth shook for days before it came. The children clutched their hides tighter. Raka watches the horizon. Dawn comes gray and uneasy. As they pack to leave, Yura points south. Look, the distant thread of smoke has thickened. It stains the sky a sickly yellow, spreading like a bruise. Bren swears softly. That's no campfire. The clans exchange glances. No one speaks the truth aloud, but it settles over them like ash. The mountain is waking. They press north with new urgency. The land grows stranger steam, rises from cracks in the rock, and the streams run warm, tasting of metal. That night, the ground shudders beneath them, just once, as if something far below has turned in its sleep. Tohan finds Raka standing watch. Your people have seen this before? Raka nods. Once. Long ago. He doesn't elaborate. The memory still burns in the elders' nightmares. Rivers of fire, skies dark for months, winters that never ended. On the third day, they reach the high pass. Safety. But as the clans cheer, Raka turns back. South, where the mountain smokes. West, where their old hunting grounds wait. Choices. Tohan follows his gaze. My people know those lands? Raka studies his clan, the hunters sharpening spears, the children playing with stones, the elders watching the skies. They have survived ice, survived storms. Now they must survive fire. He grips his spear. We go with you. As the first snow of evening begins to fall, the two clans descend into the new valley together. Behind them, the mountain rumbles in its dreams. But ahead, a world waiting to be lived in. The clans descend into the western valley as the last storms of winter chase at their heels. The land here is strange alive in ways the frozen wastes were not. Steam curls from cracks in the earth, and the wind carries the scent of pine and wet stone. The great frozen river Tohan spoke of glitters in the distance, a massive serpent of ice coiled between the mountains. Yura kneels by one of the steaming vents, running his fingers through the damp earth. The ground is warm, he murmurs. Even now, Bren snorts. Good. I'm tired of frozen toes. But Raka watches the horizon. Warm ground means unstable ground. It means change. They make camp near the river's edge, where the ice is thick enough to walk on, but thin enough to break for fresh water. That night, as the fire crackles, Tohan's scar-nosed hunter Kirik brings out a hide wrapped in cord. He unfurls it carefully, revealing a map burned into the leather. Our hunting paths, he says, tracing the lines. The river is our guide. Follow it north, and you find the caribou herds. Follow it south. His finger stops at a series of jagged marks. Here, the ice is thin. The water beneath is swift. Do not cross. Raka studies the map, then looks up at Tohan. You've traveled far. Tohan's smile is grim. We had to. At dawn, the hunters set out Raka and Bren with Tohan's best trackers, moving silently along the river's edge. The air is crisp, the snow patchy. Fresh tracks dot the mud. Hare, fox, and then Bren freezes, points. A caribou, young and strong, grazing where the steam has melted the snow away to reveal tender grass. Raka knocks an arrow, signals. The hunters fan out, a net of quiet and steel. The caribou lifts its head, sniffs, but too late. Raka's arrow flies. That night, the clans feast. The children gnaw roasted marrow from cracked bones. The elders sing the old hunting songs, and for the first time in a long while, the voices that answer are not just their own. The thaw comes swift and sudden. One morning, the clans wake to the sound of cracking. The river is breaking apart. Great sheets of ice groan and heave, splitting into jagged flows that crash together like warring beasts. The clans scramble back from the banks as the water beneath surges free, dark, and hungry. Kirik curses. Too early. This isn't natural. Raka watches the destruction, his gut tight. The mountain's breath is warming the land, changing the seasons. Yura crouches beside him. We need to move higher. If the melt continues, double quotes. He doesn't need to finish. They've all seen floods. As the clans pack, a cry rings out. One of the children, Tohan's youngest, is missing. Then a whimper. Out on the breaking ice, the boy crouches on a floe, too terrified to move, as the current drags him toward the crashing ice. Tohan lunges forward, but Raka grabs him. You'll both die. The ice screams as another sheet flips, swallowing the boy's flow. Then Bren is running, not toward the bank. Asterisk along the river. Asterisk, he sprints ahead of the current, leaping from rock to rock, then without hesitation, dives onto a passing floe. The clan shouts as he nearly slips into the black water, but he rolls, grabs hold, and reaches. His hand closes on the boy's arm, just as the ice grinds together. For a heartbeat, they disappear. Then Bren surges up, the boy in his arms, and throws him toward the bank where Tohan waits. The ice swallows Bren whole. The clans skirt the silent forest for days, keeping to the rocky highlands where the wind scours the earth clean. Then, at dusk, they find the caves. Not just holes in the rock grate, yawning mouths of stone, their walls smooth as if worn by countless hands. The elders whisper of such places. Asterisk, where the first people sheltered when the world was young. Asterisk, Tohan tests the wind at the largest cave's entrance. No animal stench. No recent smoke. Raka runs a hand along the wall. The stone is cold, but not unfriendly. We shelter here tonight. As the clans spread out, exploring the cavern's first chambers, Yura lingers near the entrance. Something catches his eye, a mark carved into the rock. Not the crude scratches of tool or claw, but deliberate lines. Symbols. Raka, he calls softly. Look. The others gather as Yura traces the carvings. A mammoth, a running river, a circle with jagged rays. Asterisk, a mountain spewing fire. Asterisk, Kirik exhales sharply. They knew, the ones who came before. Deeper in the cave, a child's laughter rings out, bouncing off the walls in strange echoes. The clans freeze. Raka moves first, spear ready. The innermost chamber opens into a vast space, the ceiling lost in shadow. And there, covering every inch of the walls, handprints. Dozens. Hundreds. Small hands, large hands, fingers splayed in ochre and charcoal, overlapping in generations. Some so old the stone has almost swallowed them. Others fresher, the pigments still vivid. Tohan's people touch their own hands to the wall, murmuring. The children press their palms beside the ancient marks, giggling at the cool stone. But Raka sees what the others don't. At the chamber's heart stands a single stalagmite, worn smooth. Arranged around it in a careful circle are skulls not animal, human, each one facing inward, as if in council. The oldest elder steps forward, trembling. This is a sacred place, a remembering place. Yura kneels beside the stalagmite. At its base, half buried in dust, lies a spearhead of strange glassy stone. When he lifts it, the firelight catches its edge still sharp after untold winters. Raka feels the weight of the cave around them, the breath of those who sheltered here before. Survivors, like them. A gust of wind moans through the caverns, carrying with it the faintest scent of smoke. The moment shatters. Tohan turns toward the entrance. The mountain's breath grows stronger. Raka looks from the ancient warnings on the walls to the fresh handprints of his clan. A choice. Hide in the past or face the future. We take what we need, he says. Then we move on. As they gather their supplies, Yura slips the glassy spearhead into his pouch. Some knowledge is worth carrying forward. Outside, the night is alive with stars. The clans press onward, leaving the echoes of the past behind. They find Bren's body downstream, wedged between rocks, his furs heavy with river. The clans mourn in silence. No songs tonight. Only the crackle of the pyre and the hiss of wet wood. Raka stands apart, his hands clenched. The mountain took the valley. The river took Bren. What next? Yura joins him, holding out Bren's spear. The wood is unbroken. He would want you to carry it. Raka takes it. Dot feels the weight. Nods. Dot behind them. Tohan speaks to his people, his voice low and fierce. When he turns to Raka, his eyes are hard. We keep moving. Dot west and north, away from the mountain's breath. Raka looks at his clan, their tired faces, their hunched shoulders, then at the spear in his hand. Then we go, he says. And as the pyre smoke curls into the sky, the clans turn their backs on the river and walk into the unknown. The clans climb higher into the rocky passes, where the wind howls between stone teeth and the last stubborn snow clings to shadowed crevices. The elders say these heights lead to summer grazing lands, but between them and salvation yawns a deep, narrow valley. Even from the ridge, the place feels wrong. No steam rises from this earth. No birds circle above it. The valley floor is a tapestry of half-melted snow and inky pools that reflect no light. The stone here is not the warm granite of the caves, but something darker, glassy where the sun hits it. Yura picks up a rock. It's lighter than it should be, porous as rotten bone. This isn't right, he mutters. Pyrrhic sniffs the air. No scent, no tracks, nothing lives here. Tohan's people murmur. Some make warning signs. The children press close to their mothers, sensing the unease. Raka studies the valley. The pass beyond is visible, a slash of sunlight between peaks. A day's march, maybe less, but the path through the valley twists like a gutted serpent, disappearing into folds of stone where the shadows pool too thickly. We go around, says one of Tohan's hunters. The oldest elder shakes his head. No time. The mountain's breath comes faster now. He points south, where the smoke plume has spread like a bruise across the horizon. A choice. Waste days scaling the treacherous ridges, or walk through the valley's throat. Raka tests the wind. We move fast. No stopping. Dot, no spreading out. The clans descend. The moment they step into the valley, the temperature drops. Their breath frosts the air, though the sun still shines above the cliffs. The snow here crackles underfoot, not with ice, but with something brittle like the land itself is frozen through. Halfway through, the first pool glistens blackly to their left. Yura peers at it. It's not water. The surface is too still, too thick. When he prods it with a stick, the substance clings like tar, stretching into ropey threads before snapping back. A child reaches to touch. Asterisk, no. Raka yanks the little one back, just as the pool shudders. A bubble forms, pops, and the stench that rolls out is the same as the valley of dead herds. The same as the mountain's breath. The clans move faster. Then a sound, not from ahead or behind, but below. A deep, wet crack, as if the earth's bones are splitting. The ground trembles. One of the black pools erupts, spraying sticky droplets. Where they land on bare rock, the stone hisses. The clans surge forward as more pools burst around them. A hunter screams as a droplet catches his arm, eating through fur and flesh alike. Tohan drags him onward, the man's wound smoking. The valley narrows. The shadows deepen. And then, light at the far end of the pass gleams ahead. The clans stagger toward it, coughing, clutching their young. Raka turns for one last look as they escape the valley. The black pools are boiling now, churning like a beast's guts. The very air shimmers above them, warped by heat or something worse. Yura grabs his shoulder. Don't look back. The clans emerge into clean wind and sunlight, their furs reeking of sulfur and burnt hair. Behind them, the Valley of Shadows seethes. Ahead, open tundra dot rivers alive with fish. Caribou herds grazing in the distance. Safety dot for now. Tohan wipes his face, leaving a smudge of soot across his brow. We live. Raka nods, but his eyes are on the southern horizon, where the mountain's plume has grown darker. The land is waking dot, and it is hungry. The clans make camp by a swift-running river, washing the valley's stench from their skin. The children splash in the shallows, their laughter sharp against the memory of shadows. Hunters return with plump geese and a young caribou, its meat rich and red. For the first time in too long, the firelight feels warm instead of desperate. Then Kirik comes running. He points northeast, where the tundra rises in gentle swells. A dozen thin smoke threads stain the twilight sky. Not one fire dot many. Raka counts under his breath. 5, 8. 12 clans worth, at least. Maybe more. Tohen's hand tightens on his spear. The gathering. The word ripples through the elders. The gathering when the scattered clans meet to trade brides and stories, to settle blood debts and plan hunts. But no one expected it here. Not this season, Yura frowns. We're too far west. The gathering should be near the Blue Lakes. Kirik spits. The mountain chased them, same as us. Raka studies the distant fires. Too many unknowns, too many hungry mouths. But also dash kin.allies. Maybe even news of other survivors from their original homelands. We go, he decides, but careful. Ready, the clans pack silently. Weapons are checked. Children are warned to stay close. As they march, Raka notices the land changing, the caribou trails grow thicker, the trampled grass still fresh. This many hunters could strip the summer lands bare if they stay too long. Then, over the next rise, they see it. A sea of hide tents, some patched and threadbare, others stitched with intricate designs Raka doesn't recognize. Hundreds of people move between them, trading, arguing, singing. The air smells of roasting meat and vamp wool. A sentry spots them first, a tall woman with her hair braided with crow feathers. She shouts a greeting that turns into a warning cry as more sentries converge. Tohan steps forward, hands open. We are of the Broken Tusk and the Long Snow clans. We come in peace. Whispers ripple through the gathered sentries. One man, older than the rest with a necklace of bare teeth, pushes forward. His eyes widen. Raka? Raka stiffens. The voice is familiar, but the face. Then he sees the scar running from brow to chin, pale against weathered skin. Vorsa, his brother, the man he left for dead in the avalanche 5 winters past. Vorsa's smile doesn't reach his eyes. You've led your people well, little brother. But you're late. He gestures to the bustling camp. The world is changing. The clans are choosing. Behind him, a group of hunters parts. A figure emerges, a woman draped in a cloak of white wolf pelts, her arms ringed with copper bands that catch the dying light. The murmurs rise like a tide. Asterisk, the speaker. She looks at Raka, then at Tohan, then at their weary people. When she speaks, her voice is soft, but carries like winter wind. Asterisk, you've come just in time. The last hunt is about to begin.